little bit, then we're going to go inside the Western Wall tunnels. So let's begin. And every good story needs a beginning, so we're going to start at the beginning when God created the world. Because it is said that when God created the world, He created it from a stone. And that stone sits right here at the top of this mountain. It's called Mount Moriah. The stone is called the foundation stone. That's Jewish tradition. And Mount Moriah is the place where Abraham was told to sacrifice Isaac. Of course, he doesn't sacrifice his son, but that whole story happens right here on top of this mountain, right at the foundation stone. And 3,000 years ago, King David conquers Jerusalem. At that time, Jerusalem was a very small city. It sat over here on the southern slopes of Mount Moriah. And after he conquered the city, he bought the mountain, and his son, King Solomon, built the first temple right here on top of Mount Moriah. And this building stood here for over 400 years, when it was destroyed by the Babylonians. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, he destroyed the first temple. 70 years after that, Jews returned to Jerusalem, and they built the second temple at the same place, right here on top of the mountain. About 2,000 years ago, there was a king here in Israel. His name was Herod Polus, and Herod decided he wants to build a larger temple. Okay, so we're still in the days of the second temple, and he's going to enlarge the temple itself. The problem is, if you build this big building on top of the mountain, well, you see the problem right away, right? Yeah. We do get a lot of earthquakes here, so this is not the greatest idea. They're going to need to somehow level this off, somehow solve this problem. And so what they do is they need to build a construction underneath, supporting structure. So what they do is they rip off this part of the mountain. I'm sure it was just that easy. And they build 4 walls around the mountain. They fill in the whole area inside. And when they were done, they've created this building, this large platform. We call this platform the Temple Mount, or in Hebrew, Har Habayit. On top of the Temple Mount, they could enlarge the second temple. So this is what it looked like about 2,000 years ago. This is Beit Mikdash. This is the temple, this white building. And like I said, the Temple Mount has 4 walls. So here's the northern wall. Here's the eastern wall. This is the southern wall. And this right here is the western wall. Okay? Now we understand the western wall is the western wall of the Temple Mount. Second thing we need to understand is, why are the soldiers being sworn in here? Why did so many people come and pray at the western wall? So now we're going to have to go a little further inside. But before that, let's just try to understand what happened. I mean, if 2,000 years ago, I was telling you, we're going to the holiest place in the world, where would you go? Yeah, to the temple, right? Although today, if I tell Jews we're going to the holiest place in the world, where does everybody go? To the Western Wall. Well, what happened? The holiest place didn't move, but some things changed here. You see, the temple was destroyed about 2,000 years ago. It was a rebellion. And during that rebellion, the Romans destroyed the temple. But as you can see, what's left more or less is the Temple Mount. Here's the Western Wall, here's the Southern Wall, here's the Eastern Wall. They still exist. Over the years, things were rebuilt here. And for example, the Muslims conquered Jerusalem, and they built the Dome of the Rock at the very same place where the temple once stood. Years later, they started to build houses here around the Western Wall. So today, we don't see the entire Western Wall. As a matter of fact, sorry. We don't see the entire Western Wall. Most of the Western Wall is covered by homes. We call these houses a Muslim quarter in the Old City. Here's the Western Wall as it looked in 1967. Let's take a look at what it looks like today with the plaza that you saw outside. Right? So here's the prayer plaza, the open part of the Western Wall. What we're going to do now is we're going to see the rest of the wall. We're going to walk underneath the homes of the Muslim quarter in order to see the rest of the wall in an archaeological excavation that you'll see is actually still going. We'll see that when we go downstairs. Alright, so we're going to see the Western Wall. We still have to answer the question of why it is that people come and pray here, but we'll get to that a little bit. walk today. In other words, the streets of Jerusalem today are above us. Right? You can see this big arch over here. It's part of a bridge. I'll show you the bottom part in a moment. There was a bridge here 2,000 years ago. Today, people are walking right above us. So there are houses here, there are stores here, there's life on top of what we call the Muslim Quarter. This was all built because 700 years ago, the Muslims living here decided they don't want to live down where people lived before. And so they cover that whole area, they fill it with dirt, they put arches on top, and everything here is filled in with dirt until in the last few years, really, the last 150 years, there were some excavations, began to uncover Jerusalem that existed here in the days of the Bible, 2,000 years ago. Now, just to get an idea of how far down below us that is, we're going to go down there in a minute, but just to get an idea of how far down below us that is, take a look right through that glass door. Right, take a look down, just to get an idea. Right? And we're going to get down here. We're looking down over here now. Remember that all of this was filled in with dirt. When you start to excavate here, the first excavations were done about 150 years ago. Now imagine everything here is filled in with dirt. 150 years ago, they don't have any electricity. There's music in here with torches, right, with candles, and trying to make their way through this mound of dirt filled in, between all these different arches. It's kind of a mess. And the archaeologist here, his name was Charles Warren. He comes and he excavates and he gets a shaft right through there. That's what that little window is. He continues going down. Imagine it's filled in with dirt, so you can easily miss something. And he breaks right through a floor, not noticing that he broke through the floor, and reaches a water system underneath. And the truth is that we only found this floor about 10 years ago when they excavated here. And then they opened this up, and what they saw here, take a look, is you can see stairs, right? Take a look around. You can see stairs that go from every direction. In other words, no matter where I go, I'm going down. Okay? I'm going up in every direction. And the stairs are covered in plaster. Right? You see it. Which means that this thing called water. Where does the water come from? Well, now take a look above us. You can see arches. There's an arch right over here, and there's an arch. And between these arches, you can see a space where there was a pipe that was laid there. This arch is 2,000 years old. This was part of this bridge that led to the temple. People said to themselves, hey, why do we have to go all the way down to the western wall and walk up to the temple? Let's build a bridge across the valley. That's what they did. This is the bottom section of that bridge. The bridge also was important because it held an aqueduct, brought water to the temple. And then they used this water. They bring the water from the aqueduct, the ceramic pipe goes down to here, and fills in the mikveh. This is a ritual bath. These things were used for lack of a better word, I don't know. I guess it's ritual cleansing. Okay? In other words, this thing is not a bathtub, even though we're not here to be physically clean, we're here to be spiritual. It's sort of a rebirth. And every person that goes up to the Temple Mount has to go through one of these ritual baths. Now, we found almost 180 in Jerusalem in general. About 50 of them around the Temple Mount. This is an idea of how many people are going up to the Temple Mount 2,000 years ago. So here's one. Imagine people walking down from here. They dip in the water. They go up the stairs, change their clothes, they go up to the Temple Mount. But this water, here, I'm sorry, we have to imagine because there's no water. So the mikveh next to it, once they cleaned it up and took out all the dirt, water started seeping into the mikveh. So here we have a mikveh from 2,000 years ago. It still has water to this day. Let's take a look. But if you want to, you can go down a late 1970s when they started piecing all this together. There's no place you find a sign and submit. If there was a sign and submit, recognizing archaeologists. Okay, an archaeologist comes into a room like this, and as they're excavating little by little, they begin to uncover, and they see things that don't quite match. For example, take a look at this wall over here, right? And this wall over there, and about half that wall, it pretty much has the same design, right? It looks like there's looks like a column sticking out of the wall. See it? All right, right over here, and here's another one right here. Okay, you have another one in the corner there, and another one there in the corner, etc. Okay, so now take a look at this half wall with the curves are. Right, and you see also that the wall looks different, right? Now look at this wall over here, and again, the wall looks different. Okay? Now, different usually means, as an archaeologist, different periods of time. Right? Now take a look at the ceiling. Right? Now you can see right down the middle. Okay? It looks like it's divided between two halves. It's not quite clear when this will fill. You can see something was a little off there. But it doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the room. Okay? So, archaeologists, they start to look and start to piece it together, piece by piece, and try to understand what's the story of this room. And here's what we know. The room, this part that we see right here, this is the oldest part of the room, and it's more or less in the days of King Herod. In other words, 2,000 years ago. And the design you see of the columns like that is something that we don't see very often in Israel, in the Holy Land, during that period of time. As a matter of fact, in the entire land of Israel, there are only 4 buildings with columns like this. If you went down to Hebron, the tomb of the patriarchs, Me'arat HaMachpelah in Hebron is built in this way. All of these buildings were built by King Herod. And of course, the largest and most famous one is the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount, or I should say, let's take the Western Wall for example. The whole upper part of the Western Wall is built like this, with columns sticking out. We don't see that. We'll understand why when we get to the Western Wall, but we don't see that today. Right? That's the way it was built. So when we see a building that has the same architecture as the Temple Mount, it starts to raise questions. Now take a look at something else. Look at the entrance to the building, and you notice that it's a double entrance. Okay, see, there's an entrance over here, and an entrance over here where the wizard is. And, okay, a double entrance is also something that raises questions, because an entrance to a room is usually the weakest point of the room. It's filled up with stones. Okay, so if there's an earthquake, most of the damage you'll see at the entrance. You can see it right over there. Take a look. All right. So if there's a double entrance, that means there's a reason for it. Right? You don't build 2 weak parts in a room. Try to keep it with one. A double entrance usually means that the people going in don't go in the same way as the people going out. All right? Are you with me so far? Okay. Where do we see that? Have backpacks? Somebody?
Blue backpack in the lobby. Please go and take it now. Thank you very much.
Nobody? Blue backpack? Okay. Okay. So let's get back to our story. All right. An entrance like this. Where do we see it? The Temple Mount. As a matter of fact, the descriptions say that every entrance to the Temple Mount was a double entrance. People going in, people going out, just to keep the order of things.